Today we're at the famous Dia de Muertos parade in la Ciudad de Mexico.
It's the city's largest event for Dia de Muertos, but it's not the only one. There's tons going on in the week leading up to Day of the Dead. There are things going on all over the city. Today we're going to be showing you the parade. We're going to talk about how commercialization has had an effect on this once traditionally sacred parade, but also we're going to be ending the day at a huge Disney event with a Coco concert. Stay with us for all the festivities and the hard questions. If you don't know who we are, I'm Jenny, this is Kevin. We're two Mexican Americans from Chicago who moved to Mexico 2 years ago, and as of about 2 months ago, we moved to Mexico City. Out of all places, we didn't expect to live here, but here we are doing good things. So I want to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already, because we're documenting our lives, our transition to Mexico. As someone who comes from Mexican backgrounds, a lot of things here are still very different for us. So before we take you to the parade, we want to talk about what's going on with this sacred tradition that, actually, before I get into that, I should be honest and say I didn't really grow up building an altar, and it's not because I grew up in the States. I think there's more to it than that. But what about you? You tell me about you first.
No, my mom and dad never raised me with any Dia de Muertos traditions. As a matter of fact, my mom is still kind of weirded out by people putting skulls all over their house.
Okay, but why? People in Veracruz and your dad, for example, from San Luis Potosí, do people from those states not celebrate Dia de Muertos, or what's the deal here?
Well, for my family, the tradition is for them on these days to just go take flowers to their loved ones who passed away. But the whole skulls thing, the whole alebrijes thing, that's something new, and you see it everywhere now, right? To this day, my mom is still kind of creeped out that people use skulls, because she grew up in a really Roman Catholic household, and that is kind of forbidden,
My
for
mom
them
too.
it's the death.
Yeah, my mom too, who's from Zacatecas, grew up also very Catholic, and there they call it Dia de las Ánimas, Días de las Ánimas, Day of the All Souls Day, which I think is more of a direct translation to what the Catholic Church says. So, and in the end, or in the beginning of all of this, it's a mesh. This holiday is a mesh of indigenous and Catholic religions. So, what we have today has nothing to do with, I feel how it started, especially with all the calaveras, like what you were saying. In my mom's hometown, they do the same as you. They take flowers, they celebrate the dead, but these parades, painting the faces, the Catrinas.
This is something really to the new.
Something else.
Even in my early years, before my teenage years, this was never around. I mean, it's awesome. I'm not gonna say that it's not, but
it's cool.
To make sure that it's.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
What Kevin's trying to say is we want to make sure that you know that it hasn't always been this way.
Right.
So as you can probably tell from our title, what we're getting at is that Hollywood has really changed the way that Mexico celebrates Dia de Muertos. Not just everyone, not just everyone in a commercialized way, but look at where we are. We're in Mexico City, the birthplace of Mexico, the mecca of this entire tradition. And we've got hundreds of thousands of people here in all kinds of festivity, makeup and everything. We're not the only ones here.
All of that has to do thanks to Hollywood, which is kind of weird to give them credit, but it's the truth. Before the James Bond movie in 2015, Mexico City didn't have this huge celebration for Dia de Muertos.
At least not in this way. This parade, the celebration at the Zócalo, none of that existed before the movie. They actually invented it for the movie. The movie asked for it to happen. Then the city liked it and they said, you know what? We're gonna adopt this and we're gonna do it. But why? Why did they decide to adopt it? Before we tell you what we think, I want you to write in the comments below why you think they did it. And then, of course, you have Disney's Coco,
which came out in 2017 and took this Dia de Muertos celebration to a whole nother level.
Little kids everywhere, not just in the US, not just the whole world, but I'm talking about Mexico specifically. I've heard little kids get excited, little Mexican kids, about people dressed up in Coco gear. They look like Coco characters.
And the ironic part of it is that when the movie first came out, when we came to Mexico, there wasn't a huge hype for this Coco movie.
No, most Mexicans didn't really care for it.
No, it was
right?
mostly us, Mexican Americans, something that we could identify with in the United States.
We felt so seen by Disney. I'm not gonna lie, I cried when when we saw the movie.
But I feel now things are changing.
It took a few years for it to really pick up in popularity in Mexico. And now Mexicans have taken that to, yes, like that's part of our celebration. Not only part of the culture, because it's not necessarily an accurate representation fully, but part of the celebration. So this is where we want to ask you all another question. Do you think that the Coco movie has had a positive or a negative impact on the Dia de Muertos celebrations?
I mean, we can tell you that the James Bond has had a positive impact on Mexico City, at least from an economic growth. This weekend, they're estimating 250,000 international tourists coming to the city
for the parade.
For this parade. And like a revenue of almost like $115 million comes in just in that time. So I guess there's your answer to the earlier question. That's kind of why they did it. Oh, here's an opportunity to bring in money, to bring in tourism. Yes, let's have this. But also, and I think there are sources that will say this, they will also claim that it's in an effort to pass down the tradition, to get the younger generations to continue to appreciate. And what better way to do that than with a big party? Because, that's also very Mexican. Very Mexican.
So you have James Bond, you have Coco, but here's my issue with Coco. I love this movie, but my issue with it is that now the focus seems to be on the calaveras, las catrinas, and I feel like the focus has shifted more to the makeup and the dressing up part than the actual
tradition.
The actual sacred part of it, which is taking flowers to the cemetery to honor your loved ones, to be there with them, to light up candles, to put up copal. So there are all these different, the details, the elements of it all, they're almost taking a back seat to it all. So it's our responsibility, I think, to make sure that those parts don't get lost, or at least don't take a back seat to all of this commercialization.
Last year when we were in Michoacan, in Pátzcuaro, and Janitzio, we saw that there was there's just so many tourists visiting people during this sacred celebration that the people who celebrate the celebration, who take part of the celebration, were not comfortably being able to be with their family members on November 1st and November 2nd because there was hundreds of people bunched into.
Thousands.
I feel like that's one way that negatively this Coco and Dia de Muertos celebrations has impacted the original sacred tradition
because
of
people
Dia de
are
Muertos.
now showing up to those cemeteries wanting to observe, and there's nothing wrong with that, but when there's no regulation, when the governments don't step in, I feel like, to control the crowds. At least when we went, there was no control. It was an absolute disaster. I still have a literal scar on my leg from the blood that I shed. It was dramatic. So definitely check out those videos. If you do plan to go to Janitzio, Pátzcuaro, or anywhere in Michoacan, for example, for Dia de Muertos, or even in Oaxaca to the cemeteries.
Oaxaca, or even around the Estado de Mexico, where they celebrate it as a tradition, as a sacred tradition.
If you want to see the authentic versions, and I always appreciate when people do, I want you to first watch our video where we talk about what really happened and what you should know before you should go, so that you can do it in a respectful way. So if you're someone who's planning for next year, I'm going to link those right here. Please check those out. They're really important. All right, now that we've talked about some of the hard stuff, let's get to the fun stuff. We're going to go to the parade, wait on our spots, and then stay with us because this Coco concert is going to be amazing, amazing, amazing.
The Coco concert includes some big artists like Natalia Jimenez, Ángeles Azules,
Alejandro Fernández.
No, Pedro
Fernández.
So there's big stars. We're super excited. It's going to be epic.
It's going to be live performances. It's going to be great. So stay with me.
The wait is 3 hours almost. It's supposed to be like an hour and a half.
We got here around 12, and it was supposed to start at 2. It looks like it's on Mexican time, and it's at 3. And so that means that we're going to be staying here for 4 hours before it begins. But there were people who were here even before that. And being the very beginning of the parade, I think this is a decent spot. And I can't imagine having gotten here early because we were in the sun for a couple hours. We just got some shade, but I'm so ready for this to start. Stood here for 4 hours for this amazing view. Check it out. Gotta go on my tippy toes. As commercialized as this all is now, I do appreciate that they're starting with indigenous rituals, with copal, with the drums, with the dancing. At least they're starting off in what I would consider an authentic way. Pero qué rico huele el copal. Como que
una limpia aquí de verdad.
Y como ya me relajo. I'm not as mad about all this weight anymore. Ooh, skating skeletons. Cool.
Wow, the first big float.
Cool. ¿Sabes quién es?
Nope.
Quetzalcóatl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see his serpent's tail? Yep.
Yeah, los alebrijes.
Ajá. El perrito Xoloscuintle. That one came up really close. So many excited
kids, yeah.
So cute. We have people dressed up as alebrijes. Very cool. Ahí viene un charro y una charra.
Un chespirito también.
¿Sí? Ay, qué hermosos. Wow, they look amazing.
Cool one right here. What is this? He's holding a heart?
Oh, hold on. The letters I can't read the letters. I don't know what we got excited for, but it was exciting. So these dances that are coming up, they sound and look very Afro.
Like Caribbean, maybe Brazilian.
Do you think this could be some sort of, I don't know, nod or acknowledgement? You know, especially when Afro-Mexicans have been very much pushed to the side in a lot of Mexican culture. I wonder if that's the message here, or if they're even from Mexico. You think there's people in the parade that aren't Mexican? There's another group of drummers right behind them, and you can tell very obviously these are Mexican. The beat is very, very Mexican. Vestido de monarcas, qué precioso. So Mexico City did have their very own Catrina parade. Hey, woo! Ay, 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 ay. Canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones. 110 años de su muerte de José Guadalupe Posada, right? The artist that created the image of La Catrina Garbancera, the one that we know just simply as La Catrina today. She started as this cartoon character. Remember we talked about this in a previous vlog, in our vlog from last year. So if you want to see that origin story, highly recommend that vlog. We'll link it right here. You know, I don't get tired of seeing skeleton skulls over and over again because they're like snowflakes. No two are the same. These are all like amazing works of art. La Lotería de la Muerte. So everyone here is dressed up, not only in Dia de Muertos and calavera type makeup, but in a piece of la lotería, the Mexican lotería. La luna, si veo la rosa, la sandía, la pera. So iconic, love it.
Bienvenidos a esta tarde.
But the parade starts at la Puerta de los Leones near Parque de Chapultepec and it ends in the Zócalo. And if you get there really early, like probably earlier than we got here, to the Zócalo, then you can enjoy the concert and all the festivities after this. Plus all the lights that are set up there.
I would say this is a really good spot to start.
I like
because
this
everybody has a lot of energy. You see them like, you know, they gotta walk like a couple miles to get to the Zócalo.
When you see everybody at the end of a parade, the people in the parade are probably exhausted. But it's probably going to be a really fun concert over in the Zócalo.
Definitely. Originally, where this parade is inspired from is that James Bond movie, right? And technically, that parade was recorded at the Zócalo. So when you see the movie, that clip, it looks so like majestic and colonial. That's where it ends. So I'm assuming that's
why they did it.
It's gonna look really cool there too.
Esto se llama El Camino de las Almas, the path of the souls.
Kind of like in Coco where they have that road, right?
That road. Also, these girls, their costumes remind me of monarch butterflies, which are also said to be what help carry the souls to the underworld and back to the world of the living on November 1st and 2nd. This one's cute. Looks almost like a kid's version, kid-friendly version. Ya llegó la banda. What in the French? It's time for Coco!
Hola, hola.
Hola, hola, yo soy Marco y aquel es Polo. Yo soy Polo. Hola,
Hola, Polo, ¿cómo están? Y él es Caio y ella es Isela, ¿eh?
Hola! I don't think our seats are this way, but we got time before the show starts. Let's see what all this is. Look at this. Amazing. That wasn't me.
Look, the artist for tonight.
Oh my god! This is who I came to see.
You get it? They're dead and they're in the passage of...
Yes. Oh my gosh. You guys see this? We're crossing into the world of Mictlán. We're entering Mictlán. Or are they in the world of the living? I don't know anymore. Es el puente de Cempasúchil donde cruzan los difuntos hacia el mundo de los vivientes, right? We are the dead. We are crossing into the land of the living. And this is the immigration checkpoint, just like in the Coco movie. Look, look, look.
Hola, bienvenidos a Tierra de los Muertos. ¿Algo que aclarar? ¿Nada?
Nada.
Disfruten mucho del show. Adelante.
Gracias.
My friends. Disney hosted a big Coco festival for Dia de Muertos at the Plaza de Toros Mexico in Mexico City. The festival included a screening of the film with live musical performances and spectacular visual effects to make you feel like you're in the movie.
We're suckers for this movie, and it gets us right in the feels every single time. But what made this extra special was seeing iconic artists like Pedro Fernandez, Natalia Jimenez, and a concert to close the night by Los Ángeles Azules. And despite getting screwed out of our seats at the last minute, it was a beautiful festival. Definitely one to remember.